ये 2 crore का है. So you're paying 2 crores to the broker and buying the same property. So that is how it is if you are consuming animal-based diet. Next. And in addition, the problem of animal-based diet is बहुत सारे toxins होते हैं जो आपके लिए अच्छा नहीं है. तो you have endotoxins, heterocyclic amines, AGEs, heme iron. All these are highly toxic substances, which can create havoc with your body. They can cause cancers, they can cause heart attacks, they can cause a lot of other diseases. Next. And not only that, it has been clearly shown कि जब आप मीट खाते हैं, मछली खाते हैं, आपका जो नॉर्मल गट माइक्रोबायोम है वो सब कुछ खत्म हो जाता है गट के अंदर. सो नॉर्मल माइक्रोबायोम इज कंप्लीटली डिस्ट्रॉयड. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. ये एक स्टडी है जहां पे दिखाया गया न्यूयॉर्क फायर फाइटर्स जो हैं वो हाईएस्ट कंजम्पशन ऑफ नॉन वेजिटेरियन फूड खाते हैं. वो लोग हैमबर्गर्स खाते हैं बिकॉज उनको बहुत स्ट्रांग रहना पड़ता है. नेक्स्ट. तो उसमें उन्होंने दिखाया कि जब सिर्फ हैमबर्गर में उन्होंने एवोकाडो ऐड किया, तो जब भी हैमबर्गर खाते हैं तो उनके जो इन्फ्लेमेटरी मार्कर्स है इंक्रीजेस बाय 70%. बट जब इसमें एवोकाडोस ऐड करते हैं सो ये इन्फ्लेमेटरी मार्कर्स दे रिड्यूस बाय 50%. सो जस्ट बाय एडिंग एवोकाडो यू आर एबल टू ब्रिंग डाउन योर इन्फ्लेमेटरी मार्कर्स. सो व्हेन यू कंज्यूम डाइट रिच इन मीट, so you have a rise of inflammatory markers, so very same inflammatory markers which rises in COVID. So you have COVID, you have all this IL-6, IL-8, they increase. So these are the inflammatory markers which also increase when you take a lot of meat. Next slide. So they can lead to joint pains, inflammation, they can block your arteries, they can lead to endothelial inflammation and lead to heart attacks. Next. Whereas plant proteins are packed with antioxidants and phytochemicals. They actually heal your body, and it is a well-known fact. There are so many papers which have been published. Next slide. Next slide. And there are so many papers which I can show you, which shows that plant diet definitely is much more beneficial than the animal-based diet. Next slide. So, few myths. You don't need to consume every essential amino acid with every meal. You can have a variety of. So you could split them up and eat in different periods of time. Next. Animal protein definitely is not of a higher quality. Next. A whole food plant-based diet contains all essential amino acids. The answer is yes. अगर आप plant-based diet खाएंगे तो आपको सारे amino acids मिल जाएंगे. Next. ये भी सच नहीं है कि only vegans को supplements चाहिए. Supplements हर एक जन को चाहिए because B12 जो है it is neither in animals, neither in plants. It's made by bacteria which are along the roots. So earlier हम जब roots खाते थे हम उसको super wash नहीं करते थे. तो आजकल जो भी roots हमें जैसे root vegetables जैसे carrots है या potatoes है जो भी हमें मिलता है मार्केट में ये super wash होती है. So as a result the bacteria are washed off. Because of which आपकी जो vitamin B12 कम होता है. हाँ इसी के लिए आपको एक supplement लेना चाहिए B12 का. Next. Vegans need dairy milk to get calcium. Again, this is a misconception. Next. Next. So definitely B12 is neither produced by animals, neither by plants, and they have to be taken as supplements. Next. Okay. Now let us look, go back. Now let us look each one of this on how they can harm us. So I will not go on slides because I think when I am going on slides, it's not able to keep up. It's going very slow. But I will briefly speak on what could be the harmful effects of each one of them. So let's consider beef. So processed meat जो बोलते हैं, it is very clearly established by the WHO that it has the same risk of causing cancer as tobacco, which is around 20%. So 1 out of 5 individuals eating processed meat will develop cancer. It is a very well established fact. तो आज अगर आप processed meat खा रहे हैं, that means that it is as good as smoking a cigarette because you are going to reduce your lifespan by about 20%. Milk, लोग बोलते हैं कि हम लोग दूध खा सकते हैं. The thing is, milk has the highest incidence of lactose intolerance. Many of us do not realize it. बहुत लोगों को digestion, 1 out of 2 people have digestion problems. For years they keep on suffering from indigestion. They keep on taking, antacids and all that. They contain gastro. The root problem is milk. If you stop taking milk, you will find that most of your digestive problems they get cured because it has the highest incidence of lactose intolerance. And lot of milk can also cause eczema, a lot of issues. The other problem with milk is high hormone content. They can play havoc with your body system. आप आजकल मिल्क लेते हैं उसमें बहुत सारे हॉर्मोन्स होते हैं. They can cause cancers. They can lead to a lot of problems. चिकन क्यों नहीं खा सकते हैं? क्योंकि ये तो रेड मीट नहीं है, ये तो वाइट मीट है, तो हम लोग चिकन क्यों नहीं खा सकते हैं? चिकन हैज़ अ हाई डोज ऑफ हेट्रोसाइक्लिक अमीन्स विच इज़ अगेन ए वेरी वेरी पोटेंट कार्सिनोजन. तो इसका कार्सिनोजन का जो एफिशिएंसी है इट्स अबाउट कार्सिनोजेनिक पोटेंशियल जो है इट इज़ अबाउट 30%. मतलब अगर 10 लोग लेंगे तो 3 people will develop cancer because of the heterocyclic amines. That is why chicken is very very harmful. Eggs again have issues of hormones within them. Plus the yellow egg again has lot of lipids which can play havoc on your systems. मटन, लैम, why can't we eat मटन? मटन में सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है एक पोटेंट कार्सिनोजन है जिसको हम बोलते हैं डायोक्सिन. डायोक्सिन क्या होता है? डायोक्सिन्स आर बेसिकली एटमॉस्फेरिक पोल्यूटेंट्स विच आर सेटलिंग डाउन ऑन लीव्स. तो जब हम लीव्स एनिमल्स को देते हैं हम उसको धो के नहीं देते हैं, वो सिर्फ ऐसे ही खा लेते हैं, जैसे बाहर या घास को खा लेते हैं. And because of that, the dioxins get into their body, and once the dioxins get into the body, there is no way it can be excreted. The only way it can come out is through, by delivering a baby or through milk. There is no other way you can actually take out the dioxins. And animals which eat grass from the polluted atmosphere, they have 14 times higher the level of dioxins than anybody else. So we are basically consuming high levels of carcinogen when we are ingesting lamb or meat because we are ingesting those dioxins because they have ingested grass on which the atmospheric pollutants have settled. Fish has the highest level of methyl mercury, and if you eat fishes from coming from Yamuna and all that, it has high levels of arsenic and God knows what. So as of today, it is the most unhealthy thing what you can eat. And apart from all this, the biggest issue is when we make our non-vegetarian preparations, we put 1 part meat and 10 parts oil. So that can again create havoc with your cardiovascular system. You can have strokes, you can have heart attacks. So can you rapidly go ahead with the slides? Keep on going. Keep on going forward. Keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. So these are all the things what I have spoken about. Again, supported by evidence. Next. 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 So this is about dioxins, what I have spoken about. Next. Now I'll stop here. Just go back. I will end my talk here. आपने कितने लोगों ने मैड काउ डिजीज सुना है? हाथ उठा सकते हैं अपना. तो कोई मेरे को बता सकता है कि मैड काउ डिजीज की वजह से क्या हुआ था? Anybody? You can just get up and answer this if you can. Yes, sir.
Basically, a neurological disorder came from the animals, and these are the infection the viruses which are going through the meat to the human brain and cause lots of problems. It is basically a disease transmitted from animals.
Excellent, sir. Thank you very much. So please sit down. So mad cow disease is not actually a virus. It's like a virus-like particle. And for this, the person who discovered this, he got a Nobel Prize for this. And this is not destroyed by cooking. How much ever you heat it, it's not destroyed. And it's a fatal disease. And it can be easily transmitted to humans. So if you develop a mad cow-like disease or a prion disease, your mental faculties will go, आपकी बुद्धि भ्रष्ट हो जाएगी, आप एक वेजिटेटिव बन जाएंगे, you'll become incontinent and you'll have a miserable death. Now if you go forward, now when mad cow was declared in UK, thousands of cows were slaughtered. Next slide. Now what I would like to say is when we have meat being produced in a commercial scale, like in US, they are slaughtering 220 cows an hour. The diagnosis of mad cow disease can only be made when you cut the brain, when you do an autopsy, you see it under the microscope, only then you can make a diagnosis. It's not by a simple blood test or anything. So how can you guarantee that how many of these cows actually have mad cow disease? Because these cows have never seen any freedom. Moment they are born, they're kept there, they're given food, and immediately they're slaughtered. If it is a calf, if somebody wants a calf meat, within 1 or 2 days the calf is slaughtered. So how many of these cows actually have mad cow disease? It's impossible to know. Similarly, in sheep, you can have something called a scrapie, which is similar to mad cow disease, which again is a fatal disease. And if it is transmitted to humans, in how many of cases can you actually confirm that this sheep has a scrapie? It's impossible. You have to cut the brain, you have to go to a reputed laboratory, you have to, under a microscope, you have to make this diagnosis. Only then you can say that this animal has been suffering from this condition. Next slide. So if you look at this, look at the host of diseases which the animal-based diet can, it can cause cancers. It can cause prion diseases like mad cow disease which can be transmitted, hypertension, kidney and liver failure, heart disease, stroke, infections, cancers, dementia. There's something called as sarcopenia. Sarcopenia वो होता है कि people who eat meat-based diet, जब वो बूढ़े हो जाते हैं, उनका skin बिल्कुल loose हो जाता है. No, it is like a flapping. That is so extreme muscle loss happening when you age is called as sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is very very common in meat eaters. तो जब वो जवान होते हैं बहुत अच्छे हट्टे कट्टे होते हैं, लेकिन जब वो 60-70 के हो जाते हैं वो बिल्कुल सिकुड़ जाते हैं, सारा कुछ लूज हो जाता है. That is again very high incidence in meat eaters. Next slide. And if you look at the structure of intestine of humans, they are not built to eat animal based proteins. They are actually built to eat plant based diet. Maybe once in a while it's okay, but fundamentally if you look at the structure, it's not the structure of a carnivore. Next slide. Next slide. Keep on going. Finally, I like to say a few words about the ecosystem. Next slide. Next slide. I will not show any of this. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, show this. So you can stop here. 79 billion animals are killed for a human population of 8 billion. This is equivalent food for 474 billion people if you were to translate it into a plant food. This is equivalent to 60 times the current what we require for human population. Now when this 79 billion animals are killed, where is the fishes for all these animals going? They are going into the environment. Forests are being cut down because you can create some kind of grass to feed this poultry. And when these are butchered, they are simply thrown away, which is again polluting the human system. This is not a sustainable ecosystem. Eating plant food is not going to be sustainable for this planet. Next slide. There is a severe environmental pollution. Forests are being cutting down for fodder. Meat is directly being released directly into the water bodies. Next. Now if you look at our earth, our lovely planet, beautiful planet, it is like a perpetual motion machine. जो आपने फिजिक्स में पढ़ा होगा ना, मशीन जो अपने आप हर समय के लिए चलता रहेगा. तो एक तरफ we have plankton which produces and plant life which produces oxygen which goes there. Now our plant life kind of nourishes both the poultry as well as the human beings. And we excrete carbon dioxide which is again consumed by plant life and plankton. So इस तरह एक तरह का balance रहा है. But what are we doing? We are tilting the balance. Next slide. We have increased the poultry by almost 1,000 times. So we now have a huge population of poultry which is excreting carbon dioxide. Our plankton in sea is reducing, our plant life is diminishing. And hence the whole machine may stop. Or, next slide. Next slide. Next please. We get eliminated. So these are the only things. Either the earth stops or we get eliminated. So how do we start? We start with ourselves. Obviously if you ask, if I am not in this audience, I am sure a lot of people here are plant eaters, vegans, vegetarians. But if you ask a non-vegetarian, it's impossible. He's addicted. He or she is addicted. So you could start with one day, like Arnold Schwarzenegger started. He said, go meatless on Monday. By going meatless on Monday, you're saving 133 gallons of water with each meatless meal. You're reducing your carbon footprint by 8 pounds. You're reducing your family's grocery budget by one time, about $4 you're saving by going meatless on Mondays. And if all the Americans could participate on this, we will significantly reduce. So I think this is how, if you have to advise anybody who is a predominant meat eater, tell him talk about all the benefits and what are the problems, and tell him that you go slow. Start with 1 day, go to 2 days, then go to 3 days. Next. बिकॉज इफ यू टॉक एनी किसी को बोलेंगे भाई आप छोड़ दो मीट, वो छोड़ नहीं पाएगा, वो मर जाएगा, वो बोलेगा मैं मर जाऊंगा लेकिन मैं छोड़ूंगा नहीं, बिकॉज दे आर एडिक्टेड. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. I will end with this. Why don't all of us know about this? The reason is there is a huge mafia behind this. The poultry mafia is 1,000 times bigger than the tobacco mafia. Now, if you look at the advertisements of tobacco in 1940s, none of these advertisements said that smoking is injurious to health. Can we go to next slide? Keep on going. In fact, in the World War, they would say that pilots smoke to get strength. Look at this. Olympic players would be showing smoking cigarettes. Next. Keep on going, please. So doctors would be showing smoking cigarettes, and then the tobacco mafia would bring out articles like there is no proof that smoking causes cancer. Next. And again, they would advertise it's as pure as water, but today we know it causes cancer, and it took us almost 8 decades for us to get the message across to the public that smoking is injurious to health. The animal food mafia is 1,000 times bigger than the tobacco mafia. They are going to fight tooth and nail. So every time there are articles coming out, keep on going. They are very powerful conglomerates. Every time there's an article coming out, they will spend tooth and nail. So you can keep on going. I'll show you some papers. Next. So if you show that animal fat leads to cancer of colon. Next. They will again. So if you show that milk intake increases the mortality and fractures. Next. Next. There are again papers funded by, for instance, here Cattlemen's Beef Boards. There are so many papers which says no, it doesn't cause those things. So I will end here. So my talk was not on moral or ethical issues. My talk was to show the science, what is present in front of you. If we continue to consume animal-based food, we are not going to be in a sustainable ecosystem. Those very animals whom we are eating are slowly killing us. It is said that if at least 30% of the human population were to go plant-based, we will create a green space equivalent to size of Africa, and that itself is enough to take care of the carbon footprint. So this is not about ethics, this is not about morals, this is not about being less cruel, this is not about being kindness. This is about saving ourselves. If you don't change our habits, I'm afraid either the planet is going to get eliminated or we are going to get eliminated. Thank you very much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर शरद चंद्र. आपने आपके व्याख्यान से